What's up, guys? Artem MMA Analysis here. Gonna be talking about UFC Fight Night Tsarukyan versus Gamrot, and I'm really excited for this fight night, man. In fact, I'm so excited I actually had the day off work because I do have to work this day, and unfortunately I had to give that day off work to get another day off for something else. So unfortunately I'm going to be working during this card, which sucks. And as always, this is my early preview and predictions. I haven't looked at the card. I haven't done my breakdowns. I haven't done much research at all, really. In fact, to be honest with you guys, there's so many fights on this one I'm not too sure about. So maybe you're gonna have to wait for the full card breakdown in a couple of days time, or maybe even tomorrow, depending on where I can fit everything in, and I'll do it then, and I'll give you guys my confident picks. But for now, man, there's not too many confident picks on this card for me because this is such a good card, and it's in the UFC Apex, which sucks. But let's just get straight into the picks. As always, bet US 125% sign up bonus. Now, Jinu Frey versus Vanessa Demopoulos. Odds are a little bit wide, in my opinion. I am going with Jinu Frey, but you got to consider a couple of things here. Jinu Frey is 37 years old. She's fought at atom weight in the past, which is at 105 pounds. So she's going to be a bit smaller than Vanessa Demopoulos. And even then, Vanessa, she showed some pretty good ability to submit Silvana Gomez-Suarez in a fight that has aged a little bit well. I mean, not too bad, but I will be going with Jinu Frey. She does have pretty good wrestling. I would say potentially underrated wrestling, but her level of competition in the UFC hasn't been super high. Like the Lomelic Boomley fight, that was pretty good, but I mean, Jinu Frey, I'll be going with her. She fights out of Fortis MMA, but I'm going to be going with Jinu Frey. Not a lot of confidence. Now, in this next one, I kind of want to pick Brian Kelleher, and that's a little bit of bias from me. If you guys don't know, I really do like Brian Kelleher. I think he's a savage, man. He fights some really good levels of competition, and he beats the guys that aren't the guys, but he loses to the guys that are the guys. He lost to Umar Nurmagomedov, he lost to Ricky Simone, but he beat Domingo Pilate, he beat Kevin Kroom, and he beat Ray Rodriguez. But the thing is, though, I mean, he didn't really dominate Kevin Kroom as much as you would kind of expect, and he's getting older now. He's almost 36 years old. I think he's given up on calling out Sean O'Malley, which is what he wanted. And then again, Mario Batista beat Jay Perrin on short notice by decision. It's a tough one, I feel like there's definitely a really good argument for a victory on either side, man. But you know what? I'm going to side with Kelleher just because I know him as a fighter a lot more. I'm going to look into that Jay Perrin fight a little bit more and a couple of other losses in Mario Batista's career. But hey, man, it's a tough one. Brian Kelleher for now, though, is the dog, man. Now, I'm going with Cody Daryden. I feel like maybe the odds are a little bit more even than they need to be. I do like Cody Daryden as only minus 125. I think that's a good price for Daryden, I mean, he's obviously not the nicest guy in the world. He's probably not really a guy you want to get behind. I mean, you want to get behind JP Bays. I mean, the guy recently lost his wife to Roman Dolidze. That's just sad. That's just sad, you know what I mean? Roman Dolidze stole Cheyenne off him, oh, it's so brutal, they both come into the UFC together, husband and wife combo, and then Cheyenne finds another guy that's also in the UFC. It's just a horror story written for JP Bays, but I just don't see him finding too much success in this one. Cody Daryden, I feel like maybe based off his last performance is why the odds are like this. He lost to Muhammad Bakayev, but Muhammad Bakayev is a savage, man. He's an absolute savage. I mean, he beat Aori Kaling in a close fight. I mean, yeah, he's only got one win in the UFC, really, but he's good. I mean, Cody Daryden is pretty good. JP Bays, he has not impressed me in the UFC at all. He got knocked out by Bruno Silva, who was Henry Cejudo's boy. He's actually pretty good. He got knocked out by Montel Jackson. Oh, no, sorry, he went to decision with Montel Jackson, but Montel Jackson isn't all that great either. It's just a tough pick to pick Bays. I'm definitely going to be going with Daryden, probably by decision. I think he'll use the wrestling and beat Bays by a decision on there. Now, Helen Pyver versus Sergey Morozov. Man, I really want to pick the dog in Helen Pyver. Helen Pyver's pretty good, he did get KO'd by Sean O'Malley, but I don't like the fact that he's fighting at bantamweight. I just don't understand why he's doing it, It just doesn't make that much sense to me. I feel like he would have so much more success at 125 pounds. He still to this day doesn't look filled out for 135, so I wish Helen Pyver stuck to flyweight. He was having some pretty good success there somewhat. Sergey Morozov, though, his UFC career has been up and down. I mean, 1 and 2 so far. Lost to Douglas Silva de Andrade, who's a really old guy. I mean, I'm going to have to study the tape a little bit on this one here, but Helen Pyver's got a couple of losses in there that are a little bit like, yeah, like, I mean, it's just a tough one. I mean, oh, I just don't know. I don't know. I'll go with Pyver for now as the underdog, but you can't have much confidence in this one here. Now, this is another one I really need to research. TJ Brown, I know a bit about TJ Brown, but for a guy that's had 46 fights, I do not know much about Shea Leonard and Becky at all. I mean, he fought in the UFC recently, lost to Joshua Culibao, and a loss that hasn't aged too badly. He beat Sean Soriano in a win that has not aged well at all. Sean Soriano lost to a guy that's like 6-6 at Eagle FC. So, I mean, TJ Brown, though, I mean, he's on a couple of wins. He's definitely kind of turned around his career a little bit, I guess, somewhat, because at one point, this guy was 14-8, probably on his way out. But now he's turned his around. He beat Kai Kamaka by split decision. Controversial, to be fair. Beat Charles Rosa by unanimous decision. I mean, I don't know too much about Shea Leonard and Becky, but you know what? I'm going to research a bit more, but I will be going with TJ Brown just a little bit. Because I know about TJ Brown. I think he's pretty good. Now, is Carlos Ulberg the underdog? And he is not. Oh, okay. Disagree with the odds somewhat. I feel like Tafon and Chukwi should be the favourite in this one. I'm picking Carlos Ulberg, but I don't like the fact that he's a favourite, you know what I mean? I feel like there's definitely dog money on Tafon, and that's coming from a guy from New Zealand. If you guys don't know, I'm from New Zealand. I do love Carlos Ulberg. He's a cool fighter, he's always an exciting... Oh, he's not actually not always an exciting scraps, because his Fabio Charant win wasn't super impressive, but Tafon and Chukwi, he was on his way to beating Azamat Murzakanov before he got knocked out, Carlos Ulberg's striking defense definitely left a lot to be desired in his UFC debut as well. I mean, I'll be going with Carlos Ulberg. I do think he keeps the range, and even though they've got the same reach, but he's just a little bit taller, he's just a bit longer in general. I'll be going with Ulberg. I think he'll probably strike his way to a decision, but you can't have a lot of confidence in this fight, in my opinion. Yeah, this one I am so hyped for, man. If you guys don't know, I do love Chris Curtis, man. He's only minus 150 as well. I did expect very close odds on this one. Chris Curtis is old. He's almost 35 years old, but he's still seen as like somewhat of a prospect in a way. Like, this guy could probably make it into the top 15, make it into the rankings in the UFC, He came in, I believe, on short notice against Phil Hawes, knocked him out. I mean, that win's aged pretty well after Phil Hawes beat Deron Win like he owed him money. And then he knocked out Brendan Allen as well, and Brendan Allen's pretty good himself. Now Rodolfo Vieira, though. One of the best jiu-jitsu grapplers in modern UFC, in my opinion. This guy's won multiple world tournaments. He's won a very prestigious jiu-jitsu tournament as well, or jiu-jitsu competition. But, yeah, he really doesn't have the striking of Chris Curtis, and I really do believe Chris Curtis is just going to put him on him. I think he's probably going to be able to defend the takedowns from Vieira, and I think he's going to knock out Rodolfo Vieira. I genuinely believe we're going to see like a first or second round KO for Chris Curtis, or we're going to see a first or second round submission from Vieira. I'll go with the KO from Curtis. Now, lines, man, that's what I thought. I was like looking at this, we're probably going to see Muhammad Nurmagomedov like minus 500. He's not. It's like almost minus 800. Man, the lines on these Nurmagomedov guys are way too wide sometimes. Nate Maness is pretty good, like his one loss is to Taylor Lapoulis, who's a really good French prospect. He recently beat Tony Gravely by KO. He beat Luke Sanders, who... Okay, it's Luke Sanders. But he did beat Johnny Munoz Jr. by decision as well, which is of concern, because Johnny Munoz Jr. has no chin whatsoever. But, hey man, it is what it is, I will be going with Umar Nurmagomedov. I do believe Umar Nurmagomedov will beat Nate Maness, probably everywhere. He's really good grappling, really good striking, really good wrestling. Umar Nurmagomedov, though, his striking is so good. Like, he's actually a really good fighter, and he's a really good prospect. I do like Umar in this one here. He will be fighting at 135, which is a more natural weight class as well. I will be going with Nurmagomedov by KO or submission. He gets it done inside the distance, in my opinion. Good scrap, though. Good fight. Now, Thiago Moises versus Christos Giagos. It's a tough one, man. It's hard to pick Moises, in my opinion, because he's disappointed a little bit. He lost to Joel Alvarez. But Joel Alvarez is really good. I think he probably missed weight for that fight, too. He lost to Islam Makhachev as well. And he made it to the fourth round as well. Like, that's pretty impressive somewhat, for considering Islam Makhachev has looked pretty unbeatable recently. But, yeah, you know what? I do like Moises. His win over Bobby Green has aged pretty well. He, was he in there with Michael Johnson? He was in there with Michael Johnson, yeah. And Christos Giagos, he lost to Arman Tsarukyan. I mean, two guys that have fought absolute killers recently, Thiago Moises, a couple losses to killers. Christos Giagos, a couple losses to killers. But, yeah, I'll go with Moises. He's a much the younger guy as well. Probably a decision or a submission, It's a tough one though, I guess. No, like as I said, I need to research this card so much more. But Josh Parisian versus Alan Baudot, I'm definitely going to be going with Parisian. Alan Baudot recently lost to Parker Porter by decision, and it wasn't super competitive from memory, and then he got a no contest to Rodrigo Nascimento, lost to Tom Aspinall. That's a tough ask though. Like, he doesn't really have a win in the UFC, and Josh Parisian, you can say something different. He beat, oh my god, okay. Oh Jesus. Why is this so high up on the card? This is low level heavyweight MMA. This is bad. This is bad. Okay. Split decision win over Roque Martinez does not look good, man. Oh my god. Jesus. Okay. I'll go Parisian though. But oh my god, that is not pretty. Neil Magny versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. Shavkat Rakhmonov, not as big of a favourite as I expected. Neil Magny, in his last one against Max Griffin, didn't impress me all that much, but Neil Magny's always down to scrap. He'll fight literally anyone, anywhere, at any time, and I do respect that about Neil Magny. He's been calling out Khamzat Chimaev for a fight for years. When everyone was ducking Khamzat Chimaev, Neil Magny was putting his hands up, and the UFC never booked him against Khamzat, which is a shame. I don't think he would have won, but it's a shame they never did that. But now he's getting Shavkat Rakhmonov, a savage, a killer, in the 170-pound division, a potential title challenger in the future as well. And I think he's going to get past Neil Magny. I think he probably will get the KO. I mean, Max Griffin did hurt Neil Magny at times, so I think Shavkat Rakhmonov can probably do the same. I'll go with Rakhmonov by KO on this one here. Now onto the main event. Oh, I love this main event. This is such a good main event. Mateusz Gamrot versus Artem Tsarukyan. I do believe Mateusz Gamrot's last loss, or only loss, was a robbery. I don't believe Karam Kutaladze won that one. But Artem Tsarukyan, man, what a dominant performance against Yoel Alvarez. It was a little bit unfortunate. I think like Yoel Alvarez slipped or something, and then it ended up where Artem wanted it, and he just put a beating on that man. he beat Yoel Alvarez like he owed him money. You know what I mean? And before that, he's been winning decisions, but man, he put a beating on Yoel Alvarez. He's definitely evolving that ground and pounds, or at least he showed that in his last one. Mateusz Gamrot, though, very well-rounded fighter as well. I believe he was fighting for, he was for KSW before he came into the UFC. And he's fought really good guys himself, but that win over Jeremy Stephens, I feel like, is probably his most notable win. Submitted him very early on in the first round, but I think Artem Tsarukyan's going to use that wrestling, and he's going to beat Gamrot. I don't believe it should go 5 rounds. I would be impressed if it does, but I do think Tsarukyan probably should maybe finish it later on in the fight, maybe like 3rd or 4th round finish or something like that. It's kind of what I'm expecting, I'm not, maybe from both guys. I don't necessarily see it going 5 rounds, both guys. I don't believe both guys have gone 5 rounds. I think maybe Gamrot probably has in KSW if he was the champ there, but hey, it's a tough one to call. I like Artem Tsarukyan to win. As I said, haven't done much research on this card, man, so we're waiting on that research, and you'll be getting a good video in a couple of days' time. So wait out for that, man, and I'll see you later.